You're on.
Okay, so today is Tuesday, March 29th, 2016. It's 7:08 maybe, and it's the meeting of the Board of Library Trustees. Open meeting, and we are being filmed. There are no public at the moment attending, and may I have a call to order. Motion.
I make a motion to call meeting to order.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
So great. So we have a full agenda, but I don't think a horrendous one. The first one is thank you so much, Laurel, for emailing the minutes out. Did everybody get a chance to read them?
Yep.
There was one change I emailed
And I changed that,
for the final version.
yes.
What do you remember what it was? I don't remember
No.
what it was.
It was a date on,
Oh, right.
the committee will meet on 3/31 to review any resumes.
Oh, you
Is
had
that it?
21.
And I
Yeah.
had 3/21.
Yeah, by
but you had
typo.
Last week was
Typo.
3/31, right, okay.
So,
I remember. But that's already, it changed here.
yep, changed in the final version. Anybody else have any edits, changes, suggestions? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as is for February 25th
I make a
meeting?
motion to approve.
Thank you, Charlie.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
You're abstaining because Barbara wasn't there.
Tell me anything you want.
Well, there's the minutes.
Well, you read them. I did read them. Yes, I did.
So the third item is update on, so Betty Gorski and I, former selectwoman, and I went to two trustee meetings at the Georgetown meeting and the West Newbury meeting, both on the same night.
And?
I can't remember the date. Anyway, the second Wednesday of March. And so both meetings, they were very live. Georgetown was a very lively discussion. They had a lot of good questions. They also had some good feedback, which was, they can't use the statistics of lending to us in their ARIS report, and they don't get the tiny portion of money that the lending would garner, because when we pay our dues, we get some money back for every item lent to another library. So that would, and they didn't know how that would impact their staff. So they said that they would get back to us both. Georgetown said they would get back to us. Their next meeting is April 13th. So after their April 13th meeting. And West Newbury thought it would be longer after their May meeting. So, but they all thought it was useful to come. I also, suggested that since we were in the same region, West Newbury, and we'll go to Merrimack on April 13th, and Merrimack have a bigger interest in being a good neighbor. And Georgetown, because we all play each other in sports, and so we're in each other's towns regularly.
I'm sorry, what date were you going on to Merrimack when?
April 13th
13th.
is Merrimack's
So
date.
did you get the impression that they were supportive?
No, my impression was less likely to have it changed, but that, it can go either way.
Like you said, they asked a lot of good questions. They give you any flavor on why they wouldn't be supportive?
Well, I just said that about the money, the cost and the impact on staff. So, we'll see where it lands. I have to get tissues, excuse me. I saw them
I
before.
didn't know they didn't get credit on the ARIS. I'm not sure that's right.
That kind of surprised me because
That's what they both, what
they both.
Georgetown said, and Haverhill said that too. That they can't use our lending for statistics.
That's kind of what Eric told me about things, but
you wanna check in with Eric on that?
Mhm.
Because if we can counter that, we can give that feedback.
Yeah, especially if we
That'd be
got it in an
great.
email from Eric, that way we could just forward it on to them
Mhm.
and we'd be right there in writing.
Mhm.
Right, that would be great. Could I make a suggestion that we,
You're on my deaf ear, by the way.
oh, I'm sorry, could I make a suggestion that we send Betty Gorski a thank you for all the work that she's done?
Is someone coming?
Did I do that?
Maybe we did.
Maybe I was thinking I would wait until the 13th, but yes, we should. So we should have a formal thank you. I did send the formal thank yous to both trustees and director for the two that we've already had. So-
You're going to do that?
No, Laura. No, Laura. Laurel, so will you take that up?
Yeah.
See who can tell them
That was the
who-
book drop.
Unless they're coming to the meeting.
Or the book drop?
Mm.
Sorry. Probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, she just-
Um,
Yeah, that's just, yeah.
Thank you. So that, I will, and also Betty asked me to send an editorial to the the Daily News for a thank you. You know, just our regular thing to, letter to the editor. So
For like the Eagle Tribune?
the Eagle Tribune and,
Eagle also, yeah.
and the
Okay.
Daily
Yeah.
News.
Yeah, that was nice.
And I have it already, just need to hit the send button, so I'll finish that.
No, it must be somebody dropping the
Yeah.
books.
So, that's all, any other questions? So
Sorry.
Jan, you'll
That way.
follow up on that,
Yes.
and
Get my roller
sooner
skates
rather,
next.
that would be helpful.
Right.
And Kathy, Prunier has been talking, we didn't do that, did we? Sometimes we, say who we are. Talk to the principal of the
Yes.
Constantino School, do you need help?
No, I'm set. I need to have my calendar.
Should we stop and announce ourselves?
Beth Burton, Chair, I'm going to get my water.
And we can get the books in here. How do you wanna handle that, Beth, getting the books out of the shed into here for the
Well-
teachers to come?
When were we gonna do that? April
Well,
vacation?
April vacation, but I've had one request from someone who's going to be away, one of the teachers is gonna be away that week when I come, and I would, I mean,
Do we have the calendar? Laurel, do you have your computer? Do the staff know, that was one of the questions, what they're gonna do for April vacation? Activities for programming.
April, yeah, I don't know.
well, we have
Is the April
Earth Day in
calendar
that
out?
week.
Is the April calendar hasn't.
Is it on the
come
desk?
Or has
Is it the April calendar?
Unfortunately,
Probably not, because it's May.
It's only March.
Yeah, I mean, March, April. Oh, okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I was,
Well, they usually do something around,
Usually that week
Earth
is
Day
Patriots
is
Day,
Friday.
Earth Day, and
Yeah.
softballs
And
that.
I don't think anything came out about April yet.
can you open the calendar on the library
The
website?
library website, yeah.
In case there's something there.
I don't think I saw anything.
Well, we've got
So-
this going.
What is that?
Next week.
That's
That's
next
April
year.
4th, Monday,
Yeah.
April 4th.
Oh, I'm looking at this one.
This side
Uniforms,
says
April
Wednesday, April
13th.
13th.
Yeah.
That's still on vacation.
Is April?
No.
April 18th.
18th.
18th to the 22nd.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see, welcome here, no,
Yeah.
there's a calendar.
So,
Darcy does the calendar.
so is there something that we can call to learn how to do that? Whoever those insight people are, we pay them a phenomenal amount of money. So they should be able to,
Nicole might be able to pick it up, because you said she's very,
but
She's good.
they
with
should be able
social
to
media.
support something.
Mhm.
yeah. And I'm thinking about this.
There's
we've
stuff
got
out
one-
here, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Your input.
So they're closed on the 18th, because that's Patriots Day.
Mhm.
The 19th, they have Make a Bird Feeder All Ages from 10:30 to 11:30. On Wednesday, Make a Craft Out of Old Books, ages 8 plus recommended. And there's a movie from 4 to 5:30, Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. and then there's the Wednesday night book club. Thursday, there's the Rainforest and Beyond from 10:15 to 11, and Make a Terrarium, all ages from 2 to 3. Friday, there's the drop-in craft, there's the, in the teen room from 10 to 4, there's Scrabble, and planting seeds, all ages from 3 to 4.
So they've done a good job.
And nothing on Saturday,
Yeah,
you know,
very good.
that day, but so, it seems like it's all like, you know, nature.
Yeah,
or-
so
yeah.
here's
So they did a good job.
Here's,
Yeah,
yeah,
very good.
yeah,
Excellent,
that's
yeah.
excellent. So here's the thought on,
It hasn't been sent out. Constantino,
Monday.
closed.
What do we, I
Well,
know.
I know, but I would come in.
We could do it
and-
on the, what do we think about doing it, I could have, I could check. So I was gonna check with Link House guys to see whether they can bring the stuff from the shed to here, and actually having it closed is a better
I
time.
spent over an hour in the shed yesterday cleaning. So what I did, I went through at least 12 boxes, because Jan and I talked, consolidating boxes to whole boxes. And I was going through any, what I consider child, book for children. I put it on a table and filled the box up, and there were some
Excellent.
other Harry Potter that,
Oh,
but
yeah,
they're
because
still-
they go to 8th grade.
but there's still a lot of boxes or cleanup you need to go through just to see what's in them. We were just trying to make.
So
room.
I will call the Link House to see whether, so no, does anybody have an object? I don't think
What are we,
Patriots
what are
Days.
we trying to make a plan for though? I'm lost.
Okay, so Constantino School had the flood and their libraries
Right,
got.
I get all that.
Okay, so we were going to bring out the children 1 through 8,
Yeah.
whatever books, and let the teachers come and make a collection for their,
Okay, and we're not gonna do
Classroom.
it in the, outside in the parking lot anymore?
well,
We decided
it's
to do
just
it
too
inside.
hard with the rain
Okay,
and the weather.
okay.
And there's not 1 inch to move in the shed.
Now there's a few
A little
inches, but
inch.
there's.
Thanks to Charlie, there's a few inches.
Okay, so we're
Yeah.
thinking, we're trying to make a plan as to what day these teachers could come here to
Right,
pick up books.
So they were gonna
Right.
call me, I'd make the appointment, I'd meet them here, and they could,
Well, whatever,
And
which
then-
is, let's think it out.
and then
So
the,
what you'd have to
Yeah.
do.
wait, and then the bigger picture is, then all the children's books would be able to be saved for when their Constantino's library is then functioning, so they could go in a separate section. All the other stuff, we could have Big Hearted Books come and take. Because at least there's no group to do a book sale this spring. Yes, Laura.
Suggestion, if you're having all the children's books out, and we're having a whole bunch of children's activities that week, after the teachers come and pick what they want, whatever's left over, have a little table set up and, oh parents, look at these books.
And I also was thinking, should we offer it to the Groveland teachers as well, while we're here for the Constantino teachers, before
Right.
we give them away? And Charlie, what was
I'm
your
sorry.
I
point?
think just process-wise,
Say
there's
again?
still an awful lot of boxes, obviously, in there. When I worked there last fall, I counted over 110.
Yeah,
So,
but they
and
work
it-
weekends
So
until
you
they
gotta
get that.
bring all that stuff here, if I heard you right, and sort it, you'd be kind of
No,
better
no,
off.
no, we'll work
Sorted.
weekends beforehand
Yeah.
and sort it.
I've already told the
We've done that
teachers when I
before.
talked to them at length, that the ones that called me, that they'd have to go through boxes and pick out. I also asked that there's a certain need, for a lot of the younger siblings don't have books, so I offered that as well. I said, if you wanna take a stack of books to give to children in your classroom to bring home to younger teachers. There was one little boy who likes to bring a book home to read to his grandmother, who can't read. So I think there's a lot.
So we
I'd like to offer to Constantino first, that was our plan.
Yeah, and that is-
Bring in
that-
Groveland, that's
yeah.
fine.
All I'm talking about is getting the books for the kids out of the shed.
So, I think one of the challenges, Charlie, is that we've done the book sale so many times that
do
we
it with our
understand
eyes
that's the process. Everything is the last stuff is in a junky mess, and while you bring them out, you do some sorting, and then
Okay, that's right.
and then
It would-
fine,
it would
and then the
make-
final sorting happens
It would
in
probably make
the
some sense
location.
that before you lugged all those boxes, to kind of sort them before you brought them out, that way you wouldn't have to bring out as many.
many.
And then take as many back that you didn't need, that's all.
Right. We also can do, because there are programs, there's just no place to do it other than, you know, around the perimeter of the room.
Well, and we'd have to do it, say we do this for the school on Monday, we'd have to break this down from the, you know.
Monday night.
We're gonna have this between, you
Because
know,
they have
10 and
something
3 on Monday,
10:30.
and,
Right.
and then, you know, from 3
But
to
not
5.
everybody can come on Monday.
Well, that's
And
gonna be
that-
their problem. We
Well,
can't
no,
have
because I
this,
told them that I would be here that week
but
whenever they
we've
need.
Where are you
got
gonna put it?
programs every day.
Well, if we put it around the perimeter.
Is that Monday, the
All
April
right.
13th?
Once
That's
several
gonna
boxes
I have
are
a
in here, we
question.
can take them into
Yeah.
the shed.
I have a question,
Yeah.
Jan and Charlie. What do you think of having Big Hearted Books come before we did that and took not what's in the middle, but what's all around the edges that are the reference,
Mhm.
and that way we can spread out the children's stuff in the shed.
That's an interesting
That's a
thought.
good idea.
Mhm.
We're electrified in there, so that's a good idea.
And then it doesn't have to be lugged from there to here. Do you think that's possible, Charlie, to have Big Hearted Books come and take everything more from the right-hand side?
Or
The
even
center
where we-
is-
where we put a lot of books, take what you thought. We put a lot of books on the table when you walk in there. You know, if you continue sorting, put more books, children, you thought on the table, at least they'd be centralized.
Right, we could do sorting outside the shed on tables, so we could actually take the middle stuff,
Mhm.
sort that. Do you think they come on the weekend? That would be a question.
Big Hearted Books, you mean?
Yeah,
Well, even if they didn't, you could, if you have the tables out there and you have the stuff that's going to them in boxes on the table, covered with a tarp or something,
Mhm.
you could leave it and then they could come get it on the following.
yeah. The fall sorting that we did over the long over like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and McCann's husband had really elaborate tarps, and he folded it really well because we did not bring the stuff back into the
Right.
shed.
Couldn't,
It was just, we were too exhausted that day. So between Saturday and Sunday sorting, they just stayed outside, and I just let the police know that that's the way we left it.
and I'd like to take a look first, because back in the fall, I put an entire collection of Charles Dickens in there, and I told you about that I think
Yeah,
would make a
so-
good archival piece for the library. So I think there'd be some picking through that way.
All right,
In time frame, is you talking 2 weeks, April 13th?
Yeah.
April,
We only got a couple of weeks.
so the weekend before that, so April 18th is Monday,
Mm-hmm.
so that would be 16th, 17th, 16th and
because it-
17th.
So roughly about 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, and so I'll call Link House. Can you call Big Hearted Books to see whether they can pick up on the weekend? Because that weekend would be ideal,
The
if not
15th,
before.
16th, do our taxes and get rid of the books.
Lord, don't panic about taxes. What is that? How's that sound, Charlie?
I'm thinking, I looked at the weather forecast for different reasons, and like, beginning of next week into the 40s, it may be snow.
Yeah,
I know.
Okay, and it wasn't bad working, I worked in the rain, not that it was, but like, to get out of the house with all the people doing stuff, you know? I needed a mental health break to do something constructive. And I talked to Jan about getting one of the pages to help, one of the mail pages to help, because I made decent progress in an hour and a half. You know, if you had a little bit more, you could do that, then come in and take a look at it and said, okay, we're going in the right direction, now alter it by doing this and this, because you might look at how many books you have and
And these people who are gonna come and take the hardcover books, they don't have to come that weekend. They could come,
Well, the advantage of the Big Hearted Books coming, is that who you're talking about?
yeah, but if they wouldn't have to come just like the 16th or 17th. If they could even come the week before, it would be even better.
Right, right. That's actually true, but
I'd like a chance to go through them though, and I'm gonna be
Right.
away that
Well-
8th and 9th.
The
Well,
rest of us can be working. I mean,
You could come anytime.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have
except
to
you
be
can't
on
get
Friday.
to the wall to look at, you can't get to the shelves to look at what's on them,
Well,
to
that's
see
bad.
whether, yeah,
Because the boxes
Right.
of new donations.
yes.
yeah.
there's a table out there that's a library table in the shed, which I think is dangerous. A dangerous table because of the way it is. Do you want another table? Think about that. Like that square
Why?
one. you
I
were
mean,
just-
I like that table.
Okay.
What do you-
You can have a table, but I want a table like this with legs on both sides.
Oh,
But
fine.
there's only
I
a
mean,
pedestal.
you don't have to get.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
get
think
what
the
you're saying.
table is very helpful for sorting,
yeah.
yeah, so you don't break your back.
But it's a pedestal
But it's a
table.
pedestal table, so it's very
There-
wobbly.
There was
That's
another one, I talked to Jan, there's a rack with shelves or bins in it, a plastic one that's right in front of the table.
That's actually a metal one that we, usually it's just there's two, one in the shed, one in the basement that roll. So like sometimes when you're having a book, so a theme with, and then you pull out books and you have them on the rolling carts so there's two of those carts, one is orange and one is purple.
I'm thinking on my feet, so maybe we stuff it with some of the children's books and we could roll it out into some place more reserved. At least it'll be all loaded with children's stuff for the
Right.
sake of argument, you know?
Keep it out of the way.
Okay, so do we have anything else to think about for that? I think Barbara, you're right, they could come sooner, but we need to we
Yeah.
need to make sure that what they're taking is what they need to be
Yeah,
taking.
but as soon as we know, I mean, the sooner Jan can call,
Right,
then we'll just, you know,
Yeah.
like this weekend, we'll
Yeah.
do sorting. I
Yeah.
mean, we've
done it before, yeah, we've done it before. And I can call Link House tomorrow and see how much of a notice do they need. The challenge, and it's not a big challenge, the challenge about Link House is they need a ride. So you go pick them up, it's only in Newburyport, and then you bring them back. And they usually have a 3 or 4 hour
So
window.
I didn't hear what Link
So
House is.
Link House is a.
That's
another.
another,
No. The Link House is where I was gonna get the labor.
Do you need the
We've
labor
done
though
it
if you're
before.
not bringing the books in here?
We still probably.
I still think
What about the high
I
school
can't
kids who are
keep-
looking for credits?
we could do that.
We've done that in the past too.
We don't pay Link House, but community service.
Yeah, we've done that.
As soon as we have dates, we put notice in the middle school and the high school for community service hours.
And then we
And
get
then we
all kinds
get
of boys
kids
and girls
that
come and they
just come for that event.
Yeah.
And then we sign their papers for 2 hours of work or whatever.
why would we even need dates? If we know it's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, we need to get that stuff sorted. Are you saying for them to sort or for them to lug books?
Both, but they can't sort without supervision.
Right, without supervision. But, and I'm sure you'll get people because when you think about it, it's the end of the school year, whoops, I didn't do it and I have to find something really fast.
Yeah.
You know, those kids that haven't done it yet,
Okay,
so.
I'll send an email to them.
Okay, good. Okay. High school,
Oh, I'm sorry, you did have the thank you to Betty on the agenda. I looked at it twice and thought it was my idea.
Good job.
Wait, I got another idea. I got a pop-up tent at home. Did that help? I mean, at
Does it
some
have
point, I'm
sides?
just thinking, pardon me?
Does it have sides,
I think so.
or is it
Only
like a
thing-
canopy?
And I'm just thinking out loud, thinking, gee, we took some of that stuff, as long as people wouldn't steal it from there.
Yeah,
If we had enough room, we could take it out, I could put it underneath the pop-up and then,
Yeah, if it's a tent with sides, we've had canopies before that have collapsed on top of us in the rain.
and that wind is right off of
well,
it.
yeah, I know if it was
That's-
today, it would have been a
it's
bad.
amazing.
Yeah.
Just pulls into the
Flying
ground, but, you know,
Books would
but
fly
I'm
away
just
today.
thinking, maybe it's a last minute
thought.
thing.
It's a
But I
thought.
think, that what Jan's thought is if we get them out and cover them, that
Mhm.
for the house. I mean, that
Well,
way
if I
you
think of
check
that
the
little-
box as it
That's
goes
right.
out.
That folding car, whatever you call it, wagon for lack of a better, with the bins in it, we took some of those and it rolled it out of there, that would give you more room and you'd get it out of there, at least to be
Mhm.
protected. Let me see if I can fit that on my to-do list.
Wait until you have help, Charlie.
Yeah, wait,
Don't roll it out
No.
until you have help.
no, and we'll ask Ann's husband about the tarps.
Yeah.
too.
Okay, any other thoughts on that?
Sounds good. So you're the contact person? I mean,
Yeah,
I volunteered
Yeah.
to be, so.
that
So if
they
you-
will be contacting you, you will tell them,
and
that we're aiming for that
if
Monday.
anybody calls, you can get out. the
And
plans.
thereafter.
But we have people that are gonna be away that week, so there's gonna
Right,
have
but
to
I
be
mean,
other-
Monday will be when it's the first time they can come.
Right.
And they could come, if we can get that,
Right.
The ideal situation, should I summarize? The ideal situation is to get out, to donate to Big Hearted Books what we can. Have the children's books more spread out inside the shed, so it doesn't have to come in here. So that the bigger event would be Monday,
Yeah.
but Kathy could come at any time and open it for, and technically, staff could do it too, for any other Constantino teacher that comes. I guess we should ask,
I think we should open it to Groveland.
yeah, I was
too.
gonna say,
I
I think
do.
we should start with.
Yes, yes,
After, right?
but, you know, but also
There's-
Groveland teachers,
there's just plenty of stuff, so we
Yes,
should,
yes, enough.
because
you know,
we're donating
it
to
could-
Constantino, we can charge.
yeah, no.
No.
No?
No.
But, we can
we can't, okay.
ask for a volunteer contribution.
Contribution.
I mean, on one, Groveland Day, we had taken stuff out and put just like, we had a big carpet and just tables and boxes of books. And we said, you know, take 3, free, and here's a donation if you want, a donation slot, if you wanna donate to, you know, more than 3, we recommend a donation.
That
But
was a beautiful day too.
we made over,
Lucky
yeah, it was
that day.
gorgeous day. I think we made over about
Yeah.
150.
Mhm.
So, you know, it was before we gave them away, so. And people loved it.
How many keys to the book shed are there?
Keys.
Yeah, there's been a little trouble with the key in the lock, and I wondered if it's the key or if it's the lock. So if there are other keys.
The only one that I know of is at the police station. Other than the one on the yellow. Lisa might have one still.
I'm not sure. I'll ask her.
Hmm.
You got
Maybe a
any
little-
WD-40?
WD-40 or.
Yeah, or,
that's my-
Shoot it in
What
the-
that what is that stuff called that they do?
Graphite.
Pinewood derby.
Graphite.
Pinewood derby stuff.
Yeah, in
Gra-
the
Graphite is
lock.
better, it's not as messy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Is it the key that you've been using that's sticking, or is it
Mhm.
okay, cause I was wondering if maybe someone had made a copy, and the copy wouldn't work as well.
Those are copies, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the
If you
one,
make a copy of a copy, that's not gonna work.
yeah, it keeps getting less and
Yeah.
less. I'm not sure where the original one is. It might be the police station one that's a key. We also should,
Document.
no. Makes WD-40 the door and the things that,
Hinges?
And,
yeah.
yeah.
I did that earlier in the winter, because we were having trouble getting the door open, so I stopped by a couple just to try to keep the door
So,
open.
and you can put, if you
I
put,
did, yeah.
like a silicone, stuff on it too, so it should be less
But I had trouble
likely to
just
freeze.
saying with the key, and I never had trouble, I got the key in, but I couldn't turn it. It took me forever
Yeah.
to get it to open, just to turn it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a lot of hard use, so I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up. Cause the handle is a little wiggly now too, so. That's the only key I know about.
Okay.
So,
I had it.
Laurel, do you wanna, when we have the details, we'll, contact Bagnell School?
Okay.
On the show, did you say just hardcover? Okay, I just wanna make
I
sure.
think, I think, Barbara did say hardcover, but I think she meant big hearted.
Okay,
Yeah.
cause I put saw a lot of paperback, so I just wanted
Yeah,
to.
yeah. The adult stuff. Let's put it that way.
Okay. All done? So the fiscal 17 budget update is, you need water? Okay. So the Board of Selectmen talked about the budget yesterday. They had a special meeting for the budget, and some of the background information wasn't as clear as we'd like it to be. So we're going to be at the Selectmen meeting on Monday to clarify some of those the background information and information on our budget. And I'm also going to call Bill Cook tomorrow, who's the chair of the FinCom meeting, to talk to him about some of the background information that,
You see the gentleman we met when we did go,
yes, so that was Bill Cook.
and it wasn't clear, I mean, was there forms
So-
and everything? and
so-
Forms there were,
Well, Charlie,
And
Yeah.
so I will talk to him, and then they are meeting on Monday also, the FinCom. So next Monday at 6:15 is open comment, and then for the Board of Selectmen, and then so we'll be there, and then the FinCom meets at 7, so we'll be there
so
to.
you
And I think,
need help?
So I'll let everybody know
yeah,
whether
you don't want a quorum that would have to post that and
Right.
then have time to post it, so.
Right. that's
Yeah, but
good.
we
That's
can
a
all
good
show
point.
up as just Groveland residents and sit in the peanut gallery.
That's true.
There you
Open
go.
comment, right?
Public comment, and then,
Yeah,
but the
public comment.
FinCom meets too, so, I'll,
Send us a note.
I can't do that.
What?
So yeah, I would just plan on being around, available. And I'll
So
let-
you-
and
are
I'll
you
let
gonna,
you
s-
know,
are you
yeah.
gonna send us, you'll send us a note and tell us
Yeah.
what kind of help you'd like and where?
Perfect.
Right.
Okay, so, and the final vote would be, it will be Monday, at the FinCom, and then it goes to town meeting
Mhm.
for the omnibus.
The warrants are voted on, that's part of the budget that is approved by the Board of Selectmen, but the actual budget is voted on by the FinCom.
So we don't have a warrant, this meeting, sometimes we do, but we don't this time. So,
But wasn't Jen gonna have warrants for us to sign?
no,
Oh,
I meant,
Actually,
warrant
yeah.
at town meeting,
Should pass them around so we can
Well,
sign
we're
them.
talking about the
I
warrants,
forgot
at
about
town meeting.
No, that.
Yeah,
no.
different, yeah.
Different thing. I
Okay.
remember her telling me that she was gonna have warrants.
No warrant.
So,
Oh, that's.
the warrant is like when we want to
Spend
move, we had a warrant the last time to move money from one
Right.
line to another,
So-
like, we don't have any warrants in this time.
Right.
I just wanted to,
Meaning, we don't.
we,
The
the
library
library.
The library does, I think
Right.
the town doesn't,
No,
really?
they do,
Talking about us.
they will,
Not yet, anyway.
No, they had to have been in already, so.
Yeah,
yeah, well,
so, so that's our status. So we are at the place of reports. Lee, do you wanna do the search committee update?
Sure. We've
Oh,
been
wait,
having, all kinds of resumes coming in. I think 11 so far. I think it's 11, yeah. For,
Yeah.
What's the quality of them for the most part?
Well, I mean, on paper, nobody makes themselves look bad when they send a resume, you know. But it's, I don't know how much to talk about, but there are a couple of them I'm kind of wondering about, like, they seem like way overqualified, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's one person said he's got 3 graduate degrees and
that's something that the search committee would
yeah,
say.
exactly, but I'm just saying that it's an interesting variety of
Must be our
choices.
location.
No,
Yeah.
it happens
And the big
in
bucks.
this kind of economy, people.
I suppose, but
I think in this economy, you often see, and the fact that, you have to apply for, jobs in order to keep your, unemployment funding.
that's a good point, yeah.
So a lot of times you'll have a resume that you wonder like why, in this case it's not so much, but you wonder just like why did they even apply? So yeah, I think it runs the gamut.
But it's a nice variety.
So,
I'm very pleased with the variety of choices.
right,
from-
How long
from
are you
new
gonna
pe-
be accepting them?
Well, I think,
We didn't have a date.
we left that part open. I think when we meet, we're gonna start we're gonna look at resumes that we've got and then decide if we wanna start scheduling interviews. I mean, that's gonna be part of the process on Thursday, just kind of culling which ones are we gonna take. written to all the people that have sent resumes in, and I've told them that we're meeting on Thursday. And the next step is to invite them for an interview if you feel it's appropriate, so, yeah. But, I'm hoping that, I mean, we can start doing interviews sooner rather than later, like in the next couple of weeks, if there are any resumes that really catch people's attention.
Yeah, it's better to have more than less, that's for sure.
Exactly, yeah.
So we're meeting on Thursday.
Right.
And, so we'll have another report at the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I signed these, but I have to look at them after, so, or I signed 2 out of, or 3 out of 4. So, do we have a treasurer report? Does anybody have any more questions for the search committee? Okay. Treasurer report, Barbara.
I don't have any figures, because nothing, we haven't spent any money, so it's all just there. But I would like to talk about our citizens account. I've, been talking with citizens and I've resurrected everything. And do we want to have a second person as a signer on this account? There's pros and cons to it. A pro is if I keeled over yesterday or tomorrow, then there'd be another person who could slide in, and sometimes I feel like I should. But having the fact that I've been able to resurrect it so easily, I don't know if that's gonna be a problem. One of the cons is, if we do, then every time we wanna move money, we have to have both signatures. Not on the check, because we don't, it isn't set up that way in our check, but like when we wanna request money, which we're gonna be doing in the next couple of months. So, I'm throwing that out, and if we do, I want the name and we're gonna sign stuff. I'm that close to being done.
It was advised to me when I was treasurer that as a safeguard for yourself.
Right, and we
you
had
should
done,
have two.
and we did it in the
Right.
past,
Right,
so
I think it's a
I'm
good
leaning
idea.
towards that. I mean, it's not gonna be that big of a problem if, for me and another person to get together to
Right.
sign something.
I would agree, because I was treasurer of Bradford Swim Club, and for 25 years, always had 2 things, because that way cash signatures, it didn't, because it took 2 of us, not just one, you didn't have to
Right.
worry about, was
Yeah.
one
Well,
claim.
this- yeah.
Affecting you too.
Exactly, I mean, we've always done it in the
Yeah.
past, so I'm throwing it out there, and then if the answer is yes, and it seems to be, we gotta pick something.
Not me. Nobody wants me on their checking account.
Well, it's really just to sign when we wanna move
Yeah,
money around.
I have to
I do
understand,
it.
I have to
And whoever
understand
does
money.
this have to understand that citizens, in fact, it's one of the things that you sign here that says you agree that you're gonna do everything electronically. Except I have to fax all these friggin' papers back to them.
But I guess that's a version of electronically.
Well, no, they want real signatures, they don't want computer signatures, but everything, so whoever does this has to be willing to have a computer and we can do things.
All right, now, that being said, I have a suggestion or whatever. We have the vote coming up. We don't even know if you're gonna be voted in.
But
Or some
between
of these
now
other
and
people-
July 1st, we need it,
Right,
because we're gonna be spending money.
right. Well, what I was going to say is in the meantime, so if the election is when?
May.
May, first week of May, more or less.
And
But
heaven forbid you're not elected.
Well, but
we need
that's,
somebody
we're,
that is
we're
supposed
talking
to be
between
here.
now and then, Laurel,
Right, right.
you're going way
No,
beyond
but I'm
yourself.
saying, let's
So we
have
do
someone
need
in
somebody.
place who is not going to be an elected this,
Is not for elections.
thank you.
But mostly everybody's
So
a,
it
Well,
doesn't
no,
matter.
it doesn't matter.
Laura, there's 3 people running, there's a
And there's-
ballot set up for a 3-year term. There's 3 openings, 3 people for a 3-year term.
No.
but Lee
Well-
and Charlie
That's
have.
for 2
But, well,
years.
there's
Right.
5 places
Yeah.
open and there's 5 people running.
Right.
Right, I know. And it
So
shouldn't
you're
be a
making
problem.
this more
I
complicated.
am.
Okay.
But we do need another signature. I
Yeah.
make a move, and I think the availability is is important, so
Mhm.
Maybe
like,
Charlie would be willing to.
Yeah, I don't
Wanna
mind.
be involved, Charlie?
I got good roller skates between your house, my house, and here.
It's just a signature, you know?
It's, yeah, it's not rocket science, because we can't do anything
Right.
without everybody
Well, I
telling
know,
us
right,
with the
right.
vote.
And
So-
actually, so it can
so-
be actually signed here that night if we vote on something.
Well, we'd have to have paper with it, work with it.
yeah, so if it's
Yeah, but
prepared
it's-
ahead of
yeah.
time.
Right, cause you put it in the minutes or saying and prove it what we're gonna do anyway, right?
Right.
It's a,
Right.
it takes
It's
a little
all-
more than that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it would be easy.
Okay,
Okay.
so, good point, thank you for bringing it up, Charlie, and you will get together to sign the
We're gonna do
papers
this
and,
before we leave.
okay, and fax it, so,
I
got your
was gonna-
signature?
I was gonna
Coco
suggest
sign it?
on my
Yeah.
opening in the shed, well, we can move some extra around, we can talk.
Barbara, I just wanna give you
Yeah.
this card. I met with this gentleman on another issue this week for another entity in town. And,
He's not the guy who takes car dust.
At
well,
Haverhill Bank?
no, but
Do we have
what I'm
Haverhill Bank?
saying is, their rates are very, very, very amenable to municipalities. And I said that I would be giving the card to the treasurer,
Rates for,
all kinds of savings and CDs, and
okay,
it's really worth talking to him,
okay, definitely I'll do it.
because we pulled down a very,
And
very
then-
good rate on another town.
Yeah,
It's not, it's a federal town, but
okay.
But we don't have Haverhill Bank right now, do we?
No, but we had a savings account at
Mhm.
Institute
Right,
for
institutions
Savings.
for
We've
saving.
had CDs at Kentucky, we had, take that kind of money and move it.
yeah.
wherever
And this
we're-
was very attractive, so.
Okay, thank you for
Okay.
sharing that.
well,
Okay,
Um,
all right.
excellent, thanks Barbara.
You're welcome.
Director's report, thank you so much for emailing it
Yeah,
ahead of
that was
time, I
great
so
to read.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
It was
good.
excellent to read ahead of time.
Wonderful
Yeah.
to
I
read.
didn't see it, when did it come out?
Oh, that's odd.
What?
You didn't get one?
You didn't get it, and I was so
It was,
excited for it because it had
I have
a
a
new
copy.
policy for you. Because you pointed out that you need to read that kind of stuff ahead of time,
Do you want me to, this is all?
and so we asked Jan.
I know
you know,
where they are,
everything
good
she
at
said.
that.
It's only
Anybody
it's
else
o-
need one?
No, it's only month. This is your third month. Third report.
yeah,
Third
January,
report.
February,
Very
March.
well, very well done.
You know, there was that
Extra
first month, I
meeting.
think you made me do an extra one.
I think we met extra.
Yeah.
I think we met like after you were here 2 weeks.
Yeah, so
And then
this is the fourth.
The fourth, yeah.
This is, I didn't include in the email, this is the
Oh, the other.
the monthly reports, budget reports.
So, in the director's report, which will be attached to the minutes, there was, three-page report. The, you kept one for Charlie, thank you, Jay. The spending, the graph for the spending, and, a draft of a policy.
Does everybody have it?
So, you have an extra copy?
Probably for Chris.
Oh, you know what? Can we go to that piece on your report, the second item or third item about the library, the trustee filing cabinet?
Okay, yep.
So speaking of having extra copies or people not being here, so Chris and Ann are both absent. So we now have a filing cabinet. Jan has a 2-drawer filing cabinet with a lock that can be for trustees stuff. So I'd like to, whatever is archived at your house, like that you don't need readily available.
Yeah, I got a whole.
Yeah,
I've got a
yeah.
filing cabinet.
Yeah, so, let's
Yeah, I think bring it-
take that as a
I'll bring all
challenge.
the state aid stuff from last year, cause no
Yeah.
one's called me anymore, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so when we could
And the errors
file it in the
report.
trustees' drawers, but some of it should go to the director's drawers on
Yeah,
some of that.
Well, I'll bring it,
But-
she can.
And then we can have the lock, somewhere. You'll figure out that, right?
Do you want all the minutes and everything too?
I think the minutes are in town hall.
Right, do
Yeah.
we need, that's what I'm saying, we
Yeah.
don't need them here, they're
No,
there.
but,
And you
I
have
know that
emails.
I have archived, like, stuff that's been archived, so I think we should all, if we have anything, take the opportunity to purge our own files and transfer some good, clean files for starting that trustee filing, that we've talked about.
And mark the file what it is, don't just
Yeah,
put it in a.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so no minutes or any of that stuff?
No minutes need to be
Correspondence
there.
or anything?
Correspondence, maybe, I think, that might
I mean,
be,
not like thank yous, but something that might be serious.
I spent, when the prior director was here as a volunteer, going through and organize, file old minutes going back years.
Yeah. and-
that was her file, that was the director's
Oh,
file.
I'm just saying, you might, Jan, if you don't need it, to clear up some space in that big file cabinet in there if you don't need it, if it's not needed, you know,
So,
just.
Thank
just a
you.
thought.
Jan will decide where the keys will be or whatever, and will tell us, we're not gonna announce it on TV.
right.
Good idea.
So,
My dad has a copy.
I so appreciate that, pulling that together for us, cause we've talked about that a long
Yeah, for a
time.
long time.
Oh, and the mail bin will be there too, good.
Yep.
So Laura, what was your point that you made me think of that? You brought up something that said, oh, extra things. So we will leave copies of, for folks that miss a meeting, we should have like an and
But
file.
they've got emails. They received emails, they've got all that.
But this
That's
isn't-
not email.
That's not in the email.
That
That
just
was
the
the
only
idea.
one.
So whatever, so we should leave, the secretary should leave some stuff there if they need to pick it up. Or if they want it.
So. What would they have to have?
Yeah.
And,
we
oh,
got
and
an
we need
extra.
2 copies of it. Right, we'll need 2 copies of it, one for Ann, no, just for Ann and Chris.
I think I already have a copy of it.
You have a
already.
copy? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Guess I have to send mine too.
Thank you, that's great. So Jan, walk us through.
Okay, so, the spending on materials to fulfill the expenditure requirement is looking good. And the graph that I, included, this is just, it's a motivational chart for the staff to keep spending, and see how close they're getting and that sort of thing. So,
So have you divided out, like, or are we just spending the bulk, or have you allocated like 75% to children's and 25% to adults, or is it more like 50-50, or?
that is a layer that I would add after, like,
A long time.
in the
So-
future, yeah. This year has just been about buy whatever you
Enjoy it.
can, everyone buy it, whatever you can, basically, of the people who are
Purchasing.
purchasing. Yeah, but
So, yeah, down the pike, you can get a better feel for, we need,
proportions,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And when you buy for, like your vendors that you buy from, you buy both children's and adult books from the same vendor,
And
right?
CDs and DVDs and
And whatever, and on and
Yeah.
on.
playaways and all that stuff, yeah. I have a question about your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
If we've, just on materials, that's the only thing I'm worried about at this point. Okay. Well, you don't know how many sleepless nights I've had. Okay, we know we have to get to, is it 44 something?
Yeah, 44,307.
Okay. You said we're gonna need $6,000 if we spend down everything else. You mentioned that in your report?
5,246.
Yeah,
Is that the first item in the director's report?
And I'm like 8640.
are you a visual person? Cause that's what is, describes here. It shows, this is the town funding. of the-
Right, if we take 39 and then we add the $1,000 yet from the technology line,
Where do you get 39, honey?
that's 39 is what our materials budget is.
No, that's part-time wages.
No, that's materials. Wait a minute. It's materials, trust me. It's materials. And then if we, and then if we add the
Oh, I
$1,000 from the
see. Yeah.
technology that we
Sorry.
haven't spent yet, we
Mhm.
spend that on materials. And then we add the 1,041 from the dues that we have left over from the MVLC. If we add all that together, those numbers come up to like 41.
Right, I wasn't factoring any of those in because on paper,
okay.
they're for other things. So,
Okay.
so for the purposes of the chart, and for the purposes of literally the materials line, then it's just what the town has and what the
Okay.
trustees have.
Okay.
So the trustees don't really have to spend that because money could come from other places, and such as the
Okay,
ones.
I didn't know if,
Yeah.
cause I was like, wait, but we gotta spend this other money too. And that wasn't even touching the programming money or the training money that we still have here. Cause like, we have to spend all of that money.
Mhm,
Okay,
yeah,
cool, then we're on the right page.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
not hard to do considering we fell so far behind on spending
Yeah.
and
Okay.
supplying books.
I mean, we're still gonna come up a little bit short and we're gonna have to spend
Mhm.
money from trust funds, which
So-
is fine. But
So,
that just answers my question, I'm happy.
do we wanna say that, out loud and make that vote or that decision now so that you can move those monies, or it's not even having to move it,
No, just spend it.
No, no,
spend it,
it's-
yeah,
Spend it.
so the $1,000 that's allocated for technology,
And the 1,041 that's left over from the dues.
1,000, where's that?
On this ending balance here, one
Those are
thousand
from the
forty-one under dues
Okay,
on the
Yeah.
ending
I
balance.
mean, those two for sure.
Yeah.
And then there's, so there's programming money and training money. Training money unless someone's gonna go somewhere in the next couple of months, and that's not to say they won't.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
But that's still,
but at least do the two you said. Right,
Yeah.
do it up front, and like you said.
so, we're clear.
okay.
yeah,
And,
spend that money.
Oh, yeah.
and,
We don't
Did-
need to vote on it.
did,
No.
I didn't see it, at the Northern Essex Community College, did we go to that program?
Oh, yeah, yeah, Darcy and Nicole went to that, yeah.
So that should come down,
Out of training,
did they,
I think,
was there any cost?
I think that they just, yeah, there was cost, I think, that they paid
they should be putting in for it?
it. Okay,
Yeah,
They put
it
in
was
to
like
get
I think it was a
reimbursement for
$60,
mileage or anything,
I think it was a
Take it out.
$60
Yeah.
fee.
yeah,
So that should be,
that should come out of training.
yeah, out of the training,
Any mileage
to
they put
remind
in,
them.
okay,
anything like that.
So if it was on a off, so the way the way miles goes, it's anything like beyond if you got to your work, so. if
From
it-
work to.
From work to the venue, or if it was a day that you don't normally work, it's to the venue.
okay,
I think it's, what is it, 52 cents a mile now?
I have no idea.
Reimbursed.
No
The
idea.
sheets that they have in the
Yeah.
cabinet spell it out real clear.
Mhm.
So I know, that was the only thing I could think of that was on the docket for training, after.
Mhm.
But isn't that the same amount of money? Why isn't it reduced? Why isn't it reduced for,
Well,
from,
we did spend money
Oh.
when they all went to that program.
yeah,
Conference.
To
Neela, so we have,
Yeah.
so what are we at?
We're down at 818.
1864
I'm sure I'm not looking at
on
the
the
right
training
piece
line,
of
right
paper.
over
And we started off at
Side.
1434.
Thank you.
and in the time that I've been here, I haven't, charged anything against that line.
So that's
I
what,
think they went to Neela
they went
before
to
you,
a bunch of
yeah,
guys.
Yeah.
and, yeah,
Yeah,
so. For sure that NECO event.
Yeah.
All right, so, anybody else on that first point, updates on the account? All right, Jan, what else?
So wait, do we need to vote on the
No.
suggestion?
No.
Okay.
So, warrant reporting,
Okay, so we hadn't told Jan to every meeting, we need to report
How many?
what warrant number and what amount of money.
How many and how much, yeah.
I didn't say that, how many items.
No, how many warrants? We had 5
Okay,
warrants. And
So
a total
she
of-
went back until January and
Oh, good.
did them for us. So you have to say them out loud.
okay,
Do they need to be in minutes?
You can attach
Well,
a
it's
copy
in
of the
her
director's
report.
report to
They're in
the
the report, right?
Yeah.
All of those are?
So Charlie, you wanna put it on Jan just to make sure.
so.
Thank
Speak
you.
up, speak up.
All right, so from 15 January 2016, there were warrants number 1631 for $832.76, 1633 for $3,624.70, warrant number 1635, $3,860.01, warrant number 1637 for $3,073.78, and warrant number 1639 for $2,144.40. Those have already been submitted. The ones that you've signed that went around today are 1641 for $3,624.41.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if we just do that regularly, that way we're, and if you bring what's already been signed, then that, you pass those to also. That way the people that didn't sign get to peruse.
Okay,
Thank you.
so then there's just a couple of paragraphs. One about media coverage and that sort of thing of the library, and then programming that's been going on. And the next section is about the library volunteers and the appreciation committee that's been working for Volunteer Appreciation Week, 10 to 14 April. And then also within the subject of library volunteers was the update on the Plus Company.
Oh, I had a question, I'm sorry. On the media and the communication, I liked the idea about the newsletter feature that you were saying we were gonna add soon, a thematic compilation of review on books. And some highlighting the unique items held by library, us, by Langley Adams. I thought that was interesting.
Okay, good.
And tell me more about that writing program. Do you know, it's so, people are so interested in, I don't know if anybody saw that. Finding
Yes.
Your Voice is, I really liked it when I saw it on Facebook, that I thought that was very interesting. And you're saying that it's so popular, they're doing it twice a month
That's
now?
excellent.
Yeah,
And what, it's like 6th grade through, what grade is it?
I actually,
I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
I think it goes up to 8th grade. I think I read the flyer.
Yeah,
But anyway, that was very exciting.
Nicole really has a handle on that one, and
That's
she's,
great.
yeah, she's doing well with that one.
Okay, and I thought that was great. Volunteers are our greatest natural resource. I love that
That's
line.
wonderful.
Yeah.
If you, the products have arrived, if you wanted to take a
Oh,
look at them, I
excellent.
think they're out in staff room.
How many volunteers do we have here now?
There's a handful,
That's good.
yeah, not to say that they're a handful.
Yeah, I think one time you were like 10, 11 really active ones.
Yeah, I don't think there's that many at this point. There's more like, I would say 5 to 6 dedicated,
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. Too many and it gets,
absolutely,
Herding cats.
yeah, exactly.
yeah. Okay,
Can I ask a question about that? At the last meeting, I offered to pay for whatever you wanted. Do you have an amount yet? Or once you have an amount, just let me know.
actually,
Okay. There you go.
Thank you again, Lee. I think that
Yeah,
was
thank you,
wonderfully
Lee.
generous.
Yes, thank you.
Is that all you, just that?
That's what they have at the moment. Those are
Okay.
for the products that
Okay.
they ordered
They're
for
putting in
gifts.
tape or something too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. So,
so we can just wait until they're.
okay, right.
If that's how you.
Yeah,
like to
that's
do it.
fine. Whatever works for you is the best is okay with me.
Okay, so we'll just keep it that way.
So we're up to priorities?
Right,
Well, plus. Did you- no,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, so I invited her to contact us in the fall when things have settled down a little.
So,
That it's definitely worth considering their program, but that right now things are too much in flux to accommodate that kind of a program.
Is that the volunteers?
Yeah, they have
The
volunteers.
volunteers for
Yeah,
Daniel.
and the thing is that it's a new group each time.
Yeah, I remember that, just with
With a
this year.
possibly
That would
different leader,
difficult.
so there would be a lot of overhead with that, so.
Thank you.
Excellent, thanks for following up on that.
So, I don't know if, I wonder if, is it, I don't know how much detail to go into as I'm talking about this. I don't-
So the priorities are probably the most important to talk about as a group. You know, some of the other stuff is just reporting the facts. So the priority is, we asked Jan, I thought we asked Jan last time to come up with some priorities for the next 3 months, what she felt, what was the important thing. What I didn't ask was if you touched base with, you know, staff to see what if they had anything that was a burning issue for them, to put in for a priority. For us to think about priorities, I think that's what how we left it, but I didn't see much, I could have been fiction, I could have thought of that all by myself. So we're talking April, May, and June. And Jan has staff building, can you continue that? We talked about how important that is. And in particular, the procedure manual has reviews, informal reviews before June.
Right, the procedure manual, the personnel procedures manual describes an annual review in December and an informal review in June.
In 6 months.
Which I thought was odd considering, well, you know why? It's in December so that you can plan for the budgeting of the
right.
season. And it's informal at 6 months because even though it's the end of the fiscal year, the budget's already been set,
Yeah, but
so.
usually in business, when you're doing reviews, it's annual if you get raises, and then you give your employees a 6-month update on how they're doing.
How they're doing
So
following their
if
goals.
those who need to be upgraded got time, you said, why didn't you tell me earlier? I would have changed or would have done a better job.
So you're gonna start that process.
Yes,
Excellent.
That's excellent.
So formally, does the town require a review for each employee?
So it's written that way, but very rarely is it done. The library is one of the few places that does it more religiously. Since there are no formal goals at the moment, at this time, maybe putting something on paper accomplishing by December might be the way to go about it. And and since it's new, it's what do you want to do for the next 3 months for them, and then that way their informal review has something to talk about, and then at that time put in something for 6 months.
Yeah, and the other thing I'm thinking, because people always say that, what are you measuring on? Oh, I didn't know I was being measured on that, making them aware of what you're gonna put on a scorecard, so somebody doesn't come back, you never told me I had to do whatever.
right.
So that is fabulous. improving collection access.
Right. One of the things that staff is concerned about is people coming in. And, I think that one of the ways to improve that is by improving access to the collection. So, this is also, this reflects, a later part of the report, in the survey that we're doing about whether, to stick with BISAC or to go with Dewey. And so things like that and how the space is set up and that sort of thing, I think will, when people come in and they are greeted by a collection that they can find what they're looking for and that's got lots of new stuff and is just a positive experience, that will, entice them to come back and tell people, and that, I just think that's some of the things that will help help improve the level of activity.
Now, to achieve that goal, are you thinking about like rearranging things and stuff like that?
Yeah, we've already made some rearrangements that have been very well received. For example, the large print,
Yeah.
turn that around, and I think people are a lot happier with that. And we don't have things mixed in that area anymore. We've taken the things out that were over there, like mysteries or something, and moved new mysteries were over in large print. They're just randomly kind of just over there. And so all the new books are when you first come in and that sort of thing. And I think that that's an important way of getting patrons engaged.
Attracting them.
Well, it makes sense then, they can find what they want,
Right.
they don't go
Yeah.
and leave.
Yeah, and especially given the situation with the, just the cachet of losing certification and the idea that, some people inevitably think, it's not a library anymore, but it is, and it's a great little library, and so if we make it accessible and we make it pleasant and stuff, then that's all to the good. So that seems like a reasonable priority.
Excellent.
I think it's a
Great
great
priority.
Love it.
And it will also help if you decide to go to Dewey, you'll already have some things organized so that it will make sense to do that.
Lee, you look like you had a question.
An observation, when I used to teach, I had my students twice a year do projects they could only do in the town library. And since the middle school library is closed, I'm wondering if it's worth outreaching to like the social studies department head and the English department head and the other libraries, the other towns' libraries, and suggesting that they kind of look at that, since they don't have the middle school library to rely on anymore, to say, you can contact the West Newbury Library, the Langley Adams Library, or the Merrimack Library, and we can make ourselves available. Last year, my wife, for her English classes, had her students read literature from South America, and the librarians contacted all 30 libraries, and she was able to get 100 novels from South America to use in her classes. And I think, the more that really makes the town see an active
But
library.
that was when we were certified, we can't do that.
Well, no, but we
Well,
can't do
yeah,
that
that's
part,
all.
but we can,
right.
but we can say, the Langley Adams Library is available to middle school
To do
teachers,
that,
since
right.
you don't have a library,
Right.
and the other libraries do the same thing.
That's excellent.
I think that's a fun. And
Excellent.
Jan, when Jan was talking about, highlighting the books that only Langley Adams has, you might be able to, highlight something like that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I thought would be really interesting for people to read in the newsletter is these are the things that you can only get right here, and there's a lot of stuff like that that you just don't expect. I mean, it seems sometimes like all the libraries are buying the same books, cause everyone wants to, you know,
Most
be able to
newest, yeah.
provide the bestsellers and that sort of thing, but it's like that goes on up here, and then down here, it's what you do to make your library unique, and so,
I don't know where we were, maybe, I thought I was with you, but, they were saying, like, some libraries, like, actually lend fishing equipment. I mean, there's something like that, you know, that is, it doesn't actually have to be like a CD but, you know, it's like, wow, I never even thought of that.
We have the movie camera, don't we, or something?
The library down the Cape for years has lent artwork.
Yeah.
You can change your artwork around, because it's much bigger space.
yeah. So, there's that, and then the main goal is, in the next 3 months, doing what's necessary to meet the state aid certification requirements, that's
Absolutely, that's
number one.
I had a thought about that. Liz Babbitt is the woman, the contact person at MBLC who ran the training session for the financial
Yeah.
part.
That's what
And
she does. It's her whole job.
And Mary Rose Quinn got a promotion to Cindy Roach, retired as the word. So Mary Rose is in that position. So reaching out to Liz Babbitt to either see whether, you know, she can, like Jan Dempsey being,
They've already
mentor.
announced certain workshops for,
Yeah.
Great.
for artists and that sort of thing, so,
Yeah.
so those will be
Excellent.
pretty easy to take advantage of.
yeah.
Yeah.
great.
And did you want to bring somebody else with you so that you have like either Darcy or Sue, so they learn the process too, so they start to, you know, understand it in a deeper level, because there are other full-time staff. So that was one of the things I thought about, and that's what's so great about having this report ahead of time.
Right.
You can think about those kind of things. So thank you again.
And we saw that was on that show, was it Chronicle that did the libraries? And there's libraries that lend tools and it's like.
Oh, maybe that's where I
That's
saw
where
it.
it was,
Yeah. So, you know, thinking outside the box is really cool.
Speaking of reports,
Yes.
another thing as a goal, and I think I sent it to you too, we had discussed having it, starting a long-term plan.
The
That
long
has-
range plan.
Long range, yeah, that's gotta get going.
Yep, we've got
because
that,
isn't
she's
that
got
good?
that on her director's report,
Where is it?
isn't it? Including long-range plan. Goal status, new goals, including long-range plan, under the director's
Oh,
report.
that's in the agenda. That's not in Jan's.
Oh, in her
report.
report.
Right,
So-
right, I think that was added to the, yeah, that, cause, yeah.
So putting that on as
In the next 3 months?
yeah, no.
A beginner,
I think
kind
one of the things that there would be like, what do we need to do to tackle it, not to accomplish it? So like, we need a status report on how did we do? Like where did we end up leaving off on all of those? And actually I wonder whether somebody can help Jan with that. Jan, I think is,
A copy of it.
yeah, they're on the
Well,
website.
I've already seen it, I know where it is, I know what's happening with, I mean.
So you have a better grip on the status of it than I do.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But I know about it, I know about long range plans in general, I know about,
Yeah.
you know, that stuff, so basically at this point, you're looking for a kind of a status report on the long range plan that has, already
Been written
and run out.
and run.
Yeah.
And then what would,
And where
and
did we
maybe
go
an
from
outline of what the next 3 steps would be. Not execute them, but like what would they be?
Okay,
Because I know a survey is,
Right, and that
Or
was something we
focus
had
group.
started,
yeah,
Well,
it was on that committee.
the preservation part of that long-range plan is already completed, and that's a
A
big,
lot of parts of that.
that's a
so
big
I think that would be, you know, feel like a success. And Jan, please tap anybody that you need to get, but I think that would feel good to know where what we actually accomplished, cause we've never had that report.
We were.
Yeah, that was the first
We-
one we've ever had, the 5-year long range.
Right, and I think we were way back, like, every year we looked at it, we did this, we did checklist.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Again,
that's
we
the
haven't had
annual
anything.
action plan
Yeah.
that's
Right,
required.
but we haven't,
Exactly.
you know, I don't think there even was one last year.
No, there wasn't.
No, but
We
we
kept
have
talking,
bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
bigger fish.
So,
But
so I'm just like,
but
I
we do
don't,
need
but we
to-
do need to do that.
So let's,
Yeah,
let's,
because
pri-
without
let's
it, we can't try
prioritize,
to get
because this
grants.
does feel like a huge amount, Jen. I agree.
It is.
Um,
Well, if I understand you right, basically, we're looking at the old plan and what was, not accomplished, is probably smaller than what was accomplished.
Yes.
And then what the next steps are for getting it rolling for the new one. What are those steps? What are the steps to first push the thing out of the garage?
Right.
Right,
That seems
doable,
doable.
great,
Yeah.
thank you. So, because as we regain our certification, if we don't have a 5-year plan, then we can't apply for some grants as well either, so,
That's
You know,
what I'm thinking
yeah.
forward. Let's like do it like the month before and say, okay,
Right.
now we need this.
Right.
'Cause it takes a while.
so thanks Laurel for bringing that up,
Yeah,
Okay,
and thank you,
it
Jan.
does take a while to
Yeah,
get.
because we had, how many meetings with the community came in and.
I think there were 2 or 3
Yeah, I
in
mean,
the
we-
community, yeah.
We have to get that going.
Yeah,
The survey and the local.
alright. So, just to check in, it's 8:30, were there any, some of the, so that was the most one that I thought what we needed to talk about. Are there any other questions for Jan on the rest of her report?
I
So-
loved getting it that way, I thought it was thorough and complete.
Yeah.
Are we gonna attach a copy of this to the minutes?
Yes.
Yes, yes, we always do.
Great.
I always
Oh,
do,
I had a
yeah.
question, where, on the community preservation grant, I thought those were great steps to move forward, to stabilize the process.
Yes.
Where are we gonna store them? So you said you were gonna put things in archival boxes
archival storage
For-
cartons,
for the time being,
yeah.
and then would they go to the basement, or would they be off-site?
Well, that is yet to be determined.
Okay,
But initially, I think they would be in the basement. But I'd like to have them outside of that back room in the basement, in the part that's more
aerated,
air,
yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And stacked on a table, or a surface of some kind, so they're not close to the ground.
Mhm.
So, the other opportunity for Link House is, some of those bigger projects, like if you were looking for cleaning, and now on the last item was disposing of surplus equipment, which also might impact some basement space. So they are looking always for community service as well.
Okay,
Um,
so disposing of surplus equipment, I bet we could really use them for that.
Mhm.
The thing about stabilizing the historic collections is that, you have to be really careful with that stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't think they would be able to help with that, but like, once they're in a box, you could have them bring it to the basement and, put them on and cleaning the basement so that you have,
Yeah,
What about when I worked for the prior director cleaning the basement and I documented what I did, I found applications to join the Army of the Republic for the Civil War. They're just down there in folders.
No, that's part of what she's talking about.
Right, but that would
going
be
into the
something
archival
we'd wanna
boxes now rather
Handle
than
better,
later.
I mean, than just let it sit there and.
No,
That's
no,
what
she's
better,
got to-
yeah.
Pardon me?
That's
That's
what,
what she's going to do.
that's what it's gonna
Our
be.
That, no, I
archival
meant
boxes.
is- that would be doing something better than the way it is, just sitting in a
That's
folder
what,
down there.
that's what we're
Yeah.
talking
yeah.
about.
perfect.
And that some things, Jan and I had a conversation about the 2 old cabinets that store a lot of historical documents, getting rid of those, putting the things in archival boxes, that opens up space right there.
Yeah, in the workroom where we need it.
Right,
yes.
So like when you get to that, like metal recycling people, we have contact information for those kind of people because a lot of the old shelves are metal pieces that, sometimes they will give us some money of it and sometimes we'll just they'll do the labor and just take it away. Same thing with the filing cabinet, that's all rusty out there, people will take it away, so we have contact people for that.
Okay.
And the other thing that I didn't know whether in a newsletter or something, I didn't know whether you knew this yet. There's where you do spring cleaning and you take your clothes and your shoes over by Phoenix Printing is
Oh, yes.
we get the money from that one.
You got a
Um,
sign on the door? On the front door?
And there's we do, and the one here is for the Council on Aging, so we can promote that, like spring cleaning, passive donation to the library too. So those were my thoughts. Anybody else have any other ones?
Question about the archival stuff. Would there be any benefit in trying to coordinate with the Groveland Historical Society?
So there's a slight conflict. I shouldn't say conflict of interest. There is. There's definitely. So the stuff that's donated to the library has to stay in the library.
Right.
Bob Guptill definitely has said that he will work with us but we can't donate our stuff to the
Right.
So
What I'm thinking about that, I've had a couple of conversations with Claire
Clay Walsh.
Yeah.
Claire Walsh, and she doesn't know that. I mean, that is to say, we haven't discussed this specific idea that I have, but I've had a couple of conversations with her. But my idea is that their stuff that they have and the stuff that's here in the library could be digitized and then at one source document for place, not document, but one source. So for the patron doing research, it would be seamless. They wouldn't know what the library has and what the Historical Society has, and that way, when there's a run of something like city town directory reports, whatever, and we have a few and they have a few, to the patron, it's all of them, all in one place.
But it's digital.
And then they
If it's
click on one and it's like, this is where you find it.
No.
No, it's right
Oh,
there.
it's
Right
right
there.
there. Oh,
Yeah.
they-
Yeah, once it's digitized,
I
it
think
doesn't.
you just
yeah.
digitize like,
The actual physical documents
whole
stay in the
document.
library.
They need to
Yes.
stay in their own
Right, they stay in
respective
their own
homes.
homes.
So, and one of I love the way Jan thinks, because moving that one, she thinks so logically. Moving this stuff from the back hall into boxes so that they can be interim stored. That means then the back hall can be fitted for the shelving and the storage and or
Everyday use.
reconfigured. So that's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah,
So I
that's
mean, you
great.
can't even think about archival shelving in there because
Until
it's
you
all
say
fiction
that.
until yeah.
can't get to it.
Till it's,
So
at first this would be safeguarding it.
right, stabilizing it. So yeah. The other thing is, as far as the disposal of surplus material and the idea of the Board of Trustees declaring it surplus, I'm not sure exactly how that is performed. Like whether the entire board walks through the basement and says surplus, or if,
You could do a subcommittee to do that. You could also bring us a list that you to one of our meetings and say, in the basement there are 47 plastic pieces of old shelving, and you don't even have to be that specific, but there's old shelving that is and broken chairs,
actually, the finance director said broken chairs we can just throw out.
Yes, anything that's broken, it just goes, it doesn't.
Just walk it to the dumpster?
Yeah.
When Greg LeBrecq was here, he would take out
Yeah.
reams of things and dispose of them when they were broken and rusted and,
so you might not even have to give us a list of anything that's broken.
no,
So
just,
I think we can skip that one.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other things like the metal cabinet in the back hall, it's not actually broken or anything, so I think that someone,
but the gray one by the back door.
I think it's pink, isn't it pink?
There's
that
one that
thing?
looks like an old book.
That was an atlas.
I
That's an
emptied
atlas
all
thing.
the stuff that was down there and.
That's the flat one.
Yeah, I mean, flat storage is great, we need that, but
We do.
that particular piece of flat storage though is kind of
It's not,
Could it be put in the basement to put the
It's
archival
real
boxes
junk.
on?
It's
they'd be
small,
off the
I
floor?
talked about getting, it's heavy, to get one of the young kids, but so far we haven't found somebody to keep up with me to
Oh,
move
the
it
high school.
downstairs.
The high
Yeah.
school kids that can do it too?
I asked about just that.
But is
He
it
said,
worthwhile
It's
moving?
like, call me,
Are you saying it's not really usable?
Well, I'm saying, is this the type of item that the trustees would need to say, would need to declare surplus?
If it's usable, yeah, I think that's the key.
Yeah.
I think that's the definition.
And surplus means not that we necessarily put it in the dumpster, but that you're declaring it surplus means that we can give it away,
exactly.
Right.
which we can't
So-
do on our own because it belongs to the town.
Right, so you're saying it's not usable for us,
Right.
and you don't wanna move it to the basement to use it in any way. So, can I have a vote of declaring that,
I think
Sir.
you might wanna just take consensus when we don't have,
okay, so do we have a
Well,
consensus
it's part of
that
the directors.
Well, you know, we don't have to actually decide that particular piece
I'm
right
tired
now.
of seeing it. I want that in the filing cabinet, I was for
I
3
second
years.
the filing cabinet, junk.
But I think it's, that there's value in you making a list,
Yeah.
and that being on the list, as opposed to doing one piece at a time.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's
So
verbal.
so for next meeting, maybe.
I'm going to bring a list
She's
next.
got her list started already.
Email
I know
it with
what's
your,
gonna be on it.
excellent, so,
All right.
that is the perfect plan.
Okay, now
Are we on to your draft budget, your draft policy?
I think it looks great,
Yeah.
I did too.
very well written. I make a motion to make this.
Well, I think we need to make it public what it is.
Oh, we just read
Okay,
it?
so okay, Jan can
You
keep
know,
going.
I think that I actually don't have a copy of it with me.
Do you
right
want
now.
to read it?
You don't have to read it verbatim.
Oh, no.
I just think, just in general.
It's a policy on lending to non-certified libraries. The background is included, and the policy itself is,
A lot shorter than the background.
a lot shorter than the background. And the main part of it, I think, that's different from other libraries' policies is that the trustees reserve the option to maintain reciprocal services to a non-certified library when the situation warrants it. And if revoking reciprocal services would cause undue and undeserved hardship to the residents and cardholders of the non-certified community.
I make a motion to accept that. I think I thought this was a good idea.
May I ask a question
Yes.
before you?
Sure.
On your point about the language at the bottom, reserves opinion and will vote on a case-by-case basis, is that the Board of Trustees will
Yes.
vote?
Right.
So do we have to put something at the Board of Trustees will vote?
No, it's given.
No, it's our policy.
It says
It's
it.
just the
Oh,
library's is
The
sufficient,
library policy.
fine, and that covers us, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay, so you make a motion
make
to
a
accept the
motion to
draft?
accept
I second it.
Let's-
All in favor?
The
Aye.
policy on lending to non-certified libraries. I think that's,
And I like the way it was phrased, undue hardship.
Okay.
Thank you, Jan, for pulling that
Yes,
together
very
Okay.
and doing the research and background. So who wants to work on the policy committee? Or do we have too many things going on right now to have another?
Do you have an outline, when you say the policy committee, what, for example?
We have to go through the old policies that, you know what, I feel like we have a lot on our,
I think there's a
yeah,
lot on our
yeah.
plate. I think that we have new policies established.
right,
right
and
now.
so as we
I think we
need
can
them, let's bring it up.
Go
Well, then let me
beyond
ask,
ours.
I don't remember maybe being given, are the policies there that we could go look at?
There's a policy manual in Jan's office.
Policy notebook.
Yeah.
Okay. All I'm saying, I've never looked at it, and you wanna change it, I'm not disagreeing, but I don't know what you
We're
changed,
not
because I've
saying
never seen them.
changing them, we're
No,
saying going
Reviewing.
forward,
Sometimes we
review
have to
them.
update them.
And I'm-
No, I
Yeah,
don't
that's all.
disagree, I just, I
No, I'm
don't
not
know what
saying
they
you
are,
are, I'm
that's
just
all.
saying, we have a manual, and sometimes we update different
I
policies.
do understand, but I haven't seen the manual, that's why I was asking what they,
And I think your point about kind of tabling it
Yeah,
is good, because in my opinion, a policy review should be done with the permanent director.
That's a good point too.
that's a very good
Ah.
point.
Didn't
Excellent.
see that part of it.
All right, so can I have a motion to table this until the permanent director has at least 4 months under their belt?
I make a motion.
And,
well, at least till you find one, and then you can reevaluate, once you find one, how many months you wanna do it. Whether, you know, just
All
cover
right,
yourself
I
if
could-
something comes up
I agree,
sooner, you know.
I second
Okay,
the
so
motion.
wait, so the permanent director is
is
hired.
on board.
Yeah, hired, whatever.
And who seconded, I'm sorry,
I seconded
Who made the first motion?
I did.
Oh, thank you.
All in favor, I just changed the word.
All in favor?
Aye.
that.
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Abstaining? Otherwise?
Donation. Okay, what's this, a donation account for?
We had talked about that in that the donation account is now intermingled with general funds. And we had talked about, we've heard different things. We were told before that if the town needed to use the money, well, then it could be used, and there were different, I think it's something that we need to approach more after budget with the finance committee and start from there.
So,
Well, and the selectmen, don't they set policy? I mean, together, shouldn't we send them both something, the same thing?
did we get
Sure.
clarification on the old donation account and the new donation account?
When I spoke with Jackie, we have a donation account. And they know that there was X number of dollars left in it. And those are the monies that we have to spend before June 30th, or it will go into the general fund.
And does anybody have that number
But any
for
new
me?
money that we have been putting in, is all going into the same account. But there are different set of numbers that Jan or whoever the director would be, would put on a warrant that indicates that we're taking, quote, new money out versus the old money.
But we need to take
So,
out the old money by
Do we
June.
have
Right.
an amount that we need to be spent by June?
It is.
So that's another set of money that is mostly, that you would have to come to the board to get approval to spend, that needs to be spent by June. So for things that might, maybe not.
Use it for programming a
materials,
lot.
We do, but
We
also.
could use it for materials. We could use it for anything.
Yeah, but it also could be used for things that don't circulate, that
Well,
might,
for instance, that's the last meeting for the volunteers, that's where the money was going to come
Right.
from, but then
Right.
you donated instead, so
Yeah.
it did not, but that type of thing it's for, you know, special
What's the
programs.
money that's left in the older part of it?
I don't have it with.
I thought there was $900 and something dollars in
I
the
wanna
new
s-
account, $939 in the new account, and the remainder of that was in the old account,
Well, right now, the donation account has got, you know,
2,316.80.
say again?
2,316.80. I think out of that,
and you know
there's
what?
a little under 1,000 that went into the new account, but I'm not up to date. Has anything come in from the box, the clothing?
Well, the
box,
difference
check?
between this and in January is
Down in Phoenix
$346.
printing.
So obviously money's been put into
Yeah,
it.
it's money, any money that goes to selling books off the book
Right.
cart,
Yeah,
that
Right.
type of thing,
Yeah.
that goes into that.
that's,
So anyway, I was thinking about it, that you might need to, like, if this doesn't move, like you said, there was standing room only for some programs, like, that's one of the reasons why we this can open and those shelves are on wheels, so
that
that you can
be
open
used.
the
Shelves are
room.
on wheels.
Those shelves are on
We
wheels.
left them out of
Yeah,
the
so that
last,
they
was
could
the
be
last book
moved.
sale we
I
had?
put more seating in when we put
Yeah.
all this
But
fancy
we don't-
equipment
We
in.
have to know how to open this.
That's not
So,
that hard.
somebody knows how to open
Yeah.
it.
So-
Yeah, I've opened it, somebody told me how to do it,
So-
like I said,
Yeah.
just knowing the right.
Also, there's, the shelves in the children's room in that middle aisle also are on wheels, so that they can go to the side, so that you can have,
A larger story time.
a larger story time or a teddy bear thing,
Whatever, yeah.
so,
Interesting,
good to know.
yes.
And
Yeah,
that's
it's
why we
unfortunate
bought-
you
was
don't
it-
know that already,
It was the
yeah.
last book sale, was it the last book sale that, no, I.
No, that's
can't-
trust funds that bought these three, $33,000.
Yeah, that's right.
$3,300.
Yeah.
Hundred.
$100.
See, that's why you don't want me, that's why you don't want That's why you don't want me
I'm not
on
getting any warning before you say that.
So, okay, so with the donation account, if we have to use it or lose it, which is some of it,
Some of it.
then would that be money that we could use
Mm-hmm, yes.
to make that little, that pie chart?
But
that
we'd
you-
Yep.
go that going
Yeah.
forward, and-
Use
yeah.
that,
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
I mean, next month is sort of gonna be,
pivotal.
we really have to know where we are with spending on materials, so that,
Mhm.
because that's gonna be in the middle of April, end of April, so then, because you gotta get stuff in and it's gotta be spent, you gotta get the bills
That's gonna be
in.
paid for, you
You
can't
gotta get the
pay,
bill.
you can't pay invoices from this fiscal year with money from the following,
So, I
from
mean,
next fiscal.
Next month is really kind of, we gotta know
The crunch, yeah.
how much of this is gone, or it's all should be gone, and then,
Yeah, to
only
be
because of the
invoiced-
timing of the way
Invoiced
things
and the
go,
invoice
you
is
know.
submitted.
Now,
And you get a
um,
grace period, it's usually a couple weeks grace period, another
Yeah.
warrant going into July.
but invoices that are going to be paid with trust fund money, I mean, to the letter of the law, I should have those so that they can be done, in
By
June.
June thirtieth, yeah.
Yeah. But those don't go through town hall, those,
We
you
write the check.
just, you just give me a copy of the invoice, and I
those
write.
would have to be
and-
voted.
Yeah, we
I
write,
mean,
we add
so-
them all up and say, okay, this is, $5,000 or whatever it is. And then we write a check, if it's to Ingram or to Penguin or to, sometimes I've written 3 and 4 different checks
Out of different accounts, to utilize
to
every
use
account.
everything up, exactly. And then I just send the, whatever you have to send back from the invoice, I send back and just.
Not to use everything up, but to utilize each trust.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, because, yeah, but the check is only one check.
Mm-hmm.
For each
Right.
vendor, if you will, but then to move the money within the citizens account, and take money,
Yeah. I know. I know.
All the sub-accounts, you move the money from the sub-accounts to the main account, which is where you can write the check. It's not hard, it's just, you gotta just keep adding to make sure your numbers are all right, cause if it's not, then your check bounces.
And that's why Beth is not.
That's
going
why
to
I'm
do it.
not on that committee.
You don't spend $33,000.
Keep
On
her
3
away
shelves.
from that checkbook.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
So, so do we need a draft letter? Or should we work on that?
I think we should work on that going out of budget.
Okay, so that
So,
Yeah,
was
let's
tabled
muddy the water before we
All right,
get
so,
where we want.
so
tabled
So
to,
you make a motion to table the donation account
Till probably till at least May.
July, May,
till,
May?
I would do it before the
Okay.
end of the
Before the
fiscal.
end of the fiscal year,
But
we wanna know
after-
exactly
But
where we're at.
after
Yeah.
Okay. So after town meeting, so our May meeting.
okay, so I make a
Ma-
motion.
Thank you, Laurel. And who's seconding?
I'll
I
second
second
it.
it. So
All in favor?
everything.
Aye.
Aye. Abstaining, noes? Okay. So under correspondence, that's where I have the,
Yes.
let's
Yeah, That's
send
where I got the idea.
Betty, thank you.
I think that's a
It's
true
been
example
helpful.
of how
How,
the selectmen work with different boards and committees in town, and although she's no longer a selectwoman, that was wonderful for her to step up and offer to do that.
yeah, and it was really helpful to have somebody, that was not another trustee with me, because they felt like they, the people that were asking questions, was almost validating instead of,
Yeah, us against them. It
Yeah.
was her third party.
a third party, yeah. And she could speak to the, the way that town is run versus, versus just the library. So it was very good, and she's gonna go with me on, to Merrimack, and Merrimack actually sent me an email asking me to answer 3 specific questions.
Oh, good, so you
Um,
prepared.
Yeah, and one of them was about how many months did we have a director where, during that year, and such, and the money specifics, so, but Jan's editorial also answers some of that too.
Yeah.
All right,
What's our next meeting day?
when is our next meeting? Laurel?
Well, we've been supposedly meeting on the second Wednesday of the month, which would be April 13th.
No, that would be, we usually meet on the 4th Wednesday.
Oh, wait, I'm
That-
sorry, the
our
4th, that was our old one. That is April 27th.
But next month, should we meet on the 13th, only because
I'm gonna
of-
be at that, Merrimack's meeting.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's, okay.
Okay. The 20th?
20th
is
would
April
still be-
vacation. I'm not gonna be here, but
So, the 20th is
don't
vacation.
take me into consideration, sorry.
I'm just thinking a town meeting is the 25th.
Right.
Should
Town
we
meeting's
meet
the
before
25th.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Of
That's
April?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, you know what, I could be there,
On what day?
on the 13th,
When is their
because they're meeting at 5:45, and they only want 15 minutes. So,
But that doesn't give much time for Jan to give us another report on spending, for example, because it's only 2 weeks
So
from now.
why don't we go out to the, even if it's, oh, you're not gonna be there, Lee, I'm sorry.
That
For
doesn't have to be.
vacation week. Well, I might be away too, actually, Erica needs to go see some colleges.
Boy,
But
I
I
have
don't
something
know.
on here and I have no idea what it is. But don't worry about it if I don't know what. The 27th then? Even if town meeting's the 25th, we can wrap up our things on the 27th with a short meeting.
No, I'm just thinking, do we need to meet before town meeting?
It's a good question.
It's gonna depend what happens in the next few days with
Right.
Cook and.
Why don't we hold off on that then? On planning the meeting.
You mean on the budget?
So, but we wanna know, okay, so let's tentatively say April 13th,
I'm gonna be away, but that's fine.
okay. And then if not the 13th, then the 27th, how does that work for folks?
27th works fine for me.
So I forgot this, I got all mixed up. The 27th. I'm just gonna put that in and we'll see.
Oh, we'll see.
Question mark, how's
Yeah.
that sound?
All right,
Other, it's almost like.
anything under other? The only thing that I was thinking of under other, and I actually have not talked to Jan about it, was one of the challenges about the last director that we had. We felt like we didn't give the staff enough time to give any feedback. They, and I went on town at the selectmen meeting saying I think we did a disservice to staff not asking for some feedback on the current director. So I didn't know whether we wanted to take some time and check in with the staff, or how to do that 360 kind of evaluation with the interim director, or how they're doing, like with feedback from their colleagues on each other because of the workplace civility. I thought that would be a good way to get people to give some feedback on that too.
And
So,
there's so many of them that are new, that,
Hmm.
how are they, well, you're gonna find out that when you chat with them too.
right, but so there's 2 layers. I mean, we had staff leave because they weren't able to give any feedback.
And they carry the library through and then
We
when
didn't
there were
ask them.
problems.
So it's a
they
diff,
just- They,
so
they
I
were
was thinking,
gagged audit, they couldn't come to the trustees.
so I was thinking, one, maybe the search committee, the trustees that are on the search committee, in part of the process of the search committee, would get feedback from the staff on what they, I don't know, I don't, like, what they
Well,
want in
what I
a
say,
director.
If you said you have what they call a skip level, you have the staff interview with, let's say, some of the trustees, and let's take what you suggestion with the search committee, so you'd be sitting down there and said, okay,
Oh, yeah, I
staff,
see
how
what
do
you-
you think of, Jan, what are your pluses and minuses? Give us some feedback.
And the same
And
sort
what are
of
you
thing,
looking for?
it's, now we're at 3 months, Jan should give us some feedback on how it's going for her and trustees and,
And staff.
and staff. Well, I hope, I hope she's been saying that before, but a formal part of the process, saying, you know, are you getting the feedback that you need,
The
or,
help.
and the support that you need to get the things done that are needing to be done. Because, you know, sometimes what we think is the director role and what, you know, staff is looking for might be two different things. The trustees have a, you know, 20,000 foot, and staff have a, you know, a 2-inch sometimes, because they're in the day-to-day and we're in the big picture. So I didn't know how to, anyway, that's what I was thinking of putting out there under other, was what do we do with that? You know, how do we,
I think there's value when the search committee meets of having the staff come to us maybe one at a time and just kind of just general, you know, what do you see as something that we're looking, because we're looking for a permanent director, what kind of things are you looking for as staff? And then just get their input that way, in a general kind of way.
I think that's a great idea, that would give them a piece of, a part of the process.
Yeah.
do you think, do you think, sorry.
We've made the grid that we're gonna use to evaluate the resumes, and we were able to show it to the staff and say, so what do you think about this grid? And then.
quality
Right,
wise, the qualities of a director.
right.
And so do you think for this meeting, what, that's on Thursday, that might fit in?
Yeah, I think so. Cause we were talking about, when you talked to me earlier today, about having kind of general business before and then having closed session for the resumes.
Mm-hmm,
That would be the time to,
we could do that
yeah,
then.
yeah.
But are you also looking at how the staff feel, the communication, like, so how's it going with Jan? Or not? Is that-
Well, that's what a skip level evaluation is.
Right, so I
Um,
mean, are you also looking for that, or are you looking for what do they want? See, I'm kind of confused.
No, I
It is,
think
it is
They
hard,
want
you're,
both.
yeah.
Right, but where Leah's saying,
No,
what
I
you
think we
see
want more
when you,
so general, not
Right,
Jan
right.
specifically.
Right,
okay.
yeah, he wants
Right.
one thing and Beth is talking another thing, we're talking.
Right.
Well, I was actually presenting both things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So,
So, but,
yeah.
yeah, the search committee would, are you asking them to ask staff?
Well, I was
So
thinking
how
that
does
that
Jan
would be
fit in with
an
this
already
grid?
established.
No,
That's what I'm asking.
I'm asking, I
So
want,
you're saying it's
no, we're
separate.
saying we want the
Two different
staff to have
things.
input into the choice process.
Yes,
And so we're gonna show them the grid and say, you think this is a good grid
right,
for making the choice?
Right.
Yeah,
for the choice.
not for Jan particularly, but for
Right,
making the
'cause
choice.
that's, you kinda said, I think the search committee should do that, and I'm like, oh, really,
Well,
okay, oh.
No, cause the search committee has to, that's one of the part of the process is.
Well, I did say that.
Yeah.
What Lee is saying is, no, do it for the general.
For the general,
Yeah.
right,
General.
right,
Yeah.
yes.
And I think that is
That's
true,
important.
because, you know, as an interim, before it was a permanent
Right,
director.
mhm,
And we should maybe think of that for the permanent director.
mhm,
And we also have the role of not being involved in that level. But maybe we can say, you know, that the trustees may do that for 3 months and 6 months, and then back out. Like, once the permanent director is past probation, the library doesn't do, the trustees don't do any skip level evaluation.
Well, you could change it, but you could do it once a year, and you could pick a couple of people, because talking to 9 would be too many, make them feel uncomfortable, but if you pick 2 or 3 of the trustees have the skip level, you'd be fine. You
Which
know
is
what I
why
mean?
I was thinking of this, the search committee is already 3,
Right.
already
So-
involved in
Right, so you
evaluation of the
Mhm.
qualities for, so I think
And
that,
they're, excuse me, and half of the staff, right, since they're new, have already talked to the search committee because you
No.
interviewed, no?
No.
No,
No,
let's
we
talk
didn't.
to the search.
Kathy and I were the search committee for most of
Oh,
those
okay,
people.
sorry, okay.
but I think that's something we should talk about for when we hire a permanent director.
Right. Because I think that a case can be made that we didn't really need their input when we were doing an interim director because it was something we needed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, and I am in agreement that the trustees don't get involved with the day-to-day working in a lot of ways, but that's after everything's working,
Right, right.
I really feel, blindsided from the last experience, so that I don't want that to happen to the staff or to the trustees, again.
We had some staff come back and say, we could have told you we were gonna make you stay at 8 figures, but we weren't allowed to talk to you.
Right.
So,
So I think that, should we put this on the agenda for,
For the search committee? Or for the next
well,
meeting?
I think the evaluation of the permanent director is everybody.
Right.
So the full board, should we put it on May's meeting?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Not April's meeting?
Well,
I think
Maybe
that's
even
too
May,
quick,
June?
probably.
that's too what?
I think it's too soon. It's-
Too
Well-
soon? I was thinking it was too late myself.
I was thinking that you wanna have it before you've made an offer.
Right.
Oh, right.
So, you wanna,
In May, maybe.
yeah, so
Well,
I think May.
He's gonna be giving us an update at our next meeting.
That's
Yeah.
right. we can make
Anyway,
it-
so
Yeah,
throw us a bone and tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
how that went,
yeah, I think that,
you know?
I'm just, if you,
So you're going to meet with them this Thursday? is that what
meeting
you're
with the search committee, yeah.
Search committee,
Yeah.
not the
Or
staff.
no,
Well-
no, well, I mean, I think as an introduction to the search committee meeting on Thursday, to meet with the staff
Yes,
one
I
at a
think
time.
so,
And
yeah.
show them the grid and say, this is what we're doing, what do you
Yeah,
think?
Right.
Yeah,
I'll
should we add
amend
something, should we subtract?
the agenda and, do you wanna invite the staff?
Yeah, I'll do
Or
that.
do you want Jan to invite the staff for
It's
us?
up to you, I don't mind doing it. Inviting the
That's
staff.
better than you to do it then.
Okay, I'll do it.
is
I
that
don't know
what
who's
you
here
do?
on Thursday.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't
I think
wanna
it's better
infringe on
if
you.
I'm
And staff.
not, if communication between the search committee and the staff should not involve me.
Okay,
That's a good point.
Yeah,
very good.
so, who's on, the schedule?
For Thursday?
They'll find
Thursday,
out
do you
when
know?
they get here.
Yeah, well, that's the other issue, the idea of there being the time for the staff to,
Oh, yeah, it's 5:00, so they have to come in immediately, cause we close at
Well,
5:30.
not all the staff is here till then.
Well, I'll come by
and not all
tomorrow.
the staff is here every day. So
Right.
I'm wondering if maybe it might be a good idea to do something in print rather than in person, like the matrix
Can you
for
send them the
grid
grid by
that you
email?
have,
I could do that,
and
yeah.
then they could
That's
just
great.
comment in response
Yeah.
to, and that would give them time to think about it,
That's great.
and that way, because, I mean, it's the problem that I've come up with with staff meetings, is that you either can't have everyone there, or you have to ask people to come in extra, because they're all, except for two, they're all part-time, so.
Mhm.
That's hard.
It does.
Okay, I'll come by tomorrow and see who I find here tomorrow. And I'll come by again Thursday. Okay,
Yeah,
alright.
And you have the grid.
Yep,
And that way you'll have their feedback, and then we can make a final grid
Yep.
at the meeting.
And one-on-one with Lee may be less intimidating than being with a group of people.
I don't know, I'm a very scary guy.
Oh, clean up your act.
Stop scaring them.
I know. Both my daughters told me, Dad, you're not scary enough, sorry.
I'm like, really?
All right, so that is fabulous.
A lot of
I think we did a great meeting. It is
Yes.
9:02. Any other things? May I have a motion?
You're gonna let us know when the next meeting is for sure, you know.
I'm gonna write that in red right here. Thank you.
I
Barbara,
make
if
a
I
motion to
forget.
adjourn at 9:04, 9:05, okay.
And second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I have a question for